Okay, at this hour, we do not know if next Monday's hearing on the allegations facing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh will go forward. Attorneys for his accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, say their client wants the FBI to investigate her claim of sexual assault before she agrees to testify to Congress. But the topic of sexual misconduct did come up at Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing.
Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No.
Joining us now is that Senator Mazie Hirono, one of the 21 members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
When you asked that question, did you have some sort of special background information?
No, I ask that question of every nominee who comes before the 5 committees that I sit on. And I ask those questions because it is really important that the Me Too movement, which is so critical to supporting women who have suffered this kind of trauma, that this not be swept under the rug. So I've asked this of at least, I would say at this point, about 100 nominees.
So during those confirmation hearings, did you know that Senator Dianne Feinstein had a letter from an accuser?
No.
Do you wish you had known that?
You know what? I think our focus should be that Dr. Ford has come forward very courageously, and what our committee is to do is, well, what do we do about it? Going back and saying, well, this, that, and the other thing, the fact is she has come forward with information that ought to be investigated by the FBI. And when Dr. Ford said she would testify, I think she expected a modicum of a fair kind of a situation. You know what happened right after she came forward on Sunday? I think that's when most of us read about it. That the committee said, oh, hey, we want to have a hearing with you. How about this coming Tuesday? Oh, if that's not good, how about Thursday? The callousness with which she was treated. You know, for any of us who have dealt at all with the experience of sexual trauma knows that this is a very particularly damaging kind of experience. And you do not treat a person who has gone through this like, oh, well, hey, how about this? You know, I think it's appalling. And I'm totally disappointed that all these people who have come forward to say, oh, we should hear from her. And now that she's expecting a modicum of fairness so she's not re-victimized, are now saying, well, if she doesn't want to testify, we should just go ahead. That is additional callousness from my colleagues that I am totally appalled by.
I understand what you're saying, that look, you have the information now, and what do you do with it now? That's exactly the reality. However, yes, she did call the tip line back in June. She did reach out to her local representative in July. She did, I believe, send the letter to Senator Feinstein in July. And so the timing is inopportune, which I think that you would agree. There was a way that this could have happened in a more timely fashion.
Do you think that she wanted all of this to be out in the open? She asked for anonymity. She asked for confidentiality. I think those of us who have any kind of a modicum of understanding of this kind of trauma would expect that maybe you don't want to talk about it. So this is what I mean, that she has come forward. She has nothing to gain from coming forward. She hardly expects to be re-victimized and re-traumatized, but this is exactly what's happening, and it happens way too often. And one of the things that happened after some comments I made yesterday is that my office has been getting tweets, and well, these tweets are out in the open, but I personally have heard from 3 women that I have known for an extended period of time, and they very personally talked to me. 2 of them have been raped. One had been almost attempted rape when she was 15. The trauma continues, and they've never talked about it. This is why I said yesterday, not only do these women need to be heard, they need to be believed. And you know what? We're setting up on Monday a situation where there's not even a modicum of fairness extended to her through an appropriate FBI investigation, so that there can be at least some attempt at corroboration. She's not even going to get that. And now she's being faulted for not coming forward. Just give me a break here.
When you asked your question of Brett Kavanaugh, you started with, since you've become a legal adult.
Yes.
Do you think it changes the fact that this allegation is allegedly when he was 17 years old? Would that change your calculus in terms of whether or not he should be seated?
A 17-year-old is not a baby. And it's bad enough that we have one person on the Supreme Court who got there under this kind of cloud. We should not be sending another person under this kind of cloud. I had many other reasons for being against Judge Kavanaugh's nomination, but this is yet another area where, what can we expect him to say except to deny the whole thing, because for him to say anything else would totally deep six his nomination. This is an administration that is totally intent, with the help of Mitch McConnell and others in the Senate, to push this through. Why? Because the Supreme Court session is going to start in October. The president wants his guy there he hopes will help him evade criminal or civil proceedings.
So if
that's what's going on.
I hear you. If Christine Blasey Ford does not want to come on Monday, do you still want to ask questions of Brett Kavanaugh on Monday?
I think we should all be focused on why the heck does she not want to come. She doesn't want to be part of a railroad job.
Understood.
Now, if I go on Monday, it will be because by not going, this is going to disadvantage and victimize Dr. Ford even more. So I haven't quite decided, but that would be my impetus for going forward. But there are already some Republican members, leaders, who are saying that if she's not coming forward, why even have this? So I say, why even have this if you're not going to have at this point, to me, the decency and the fairness of requiring an FBI investigation. And I think it's really, really telling that the third person who was in that room when this happened refuses to testify. And we need to hear from Mark Judge.
Are you calling for him to be subpoenaed? Are you calling for Mark Judge to be subpoenaed by your committee?
Oh, I would like that to happen. And in fact, some of us had already sent a letter to the Chairman Grassley, that if we're going to have this kind of hearing, there should be at a minimum 3 witnesses: Judge Kavanaugh, Dr. Ford, and Mark Judge.
But again, do you think it's valuable for you to, on Monday, ask questions of Brett Kavanaugh?
The reason that I would do it again is that by not being there and not asking him particular questions, that this is going to add to the further victimization for Dr. Ford. But I would be there, objecting to the fact that we're going ahead without according her the fairness that we would accord everybody. And I ask all my colleagues who are so happy to say, well, if she's not willing to testify, we should just go ahead. I want to say to them, what if this was your daughter? How would you want her to be treated? Do we not have a sense of empathy for people? Do we not have a sense of fair play? I think we all know when a situation is stacked. And this is a situation that is stacked. This rush to get Judge Kavanaugh on this court has been the case since this hearing first began. We have thousands of documents we don't have. I don't need to go into all that. Yeah. But this is a very personal trauma. I certainly understand from all my years in elected office how sexual assault, rape, is a very different kind of crime. Very few women come forward. This is another example of why. She's already being attacked. She's had to move out of her house. Yeah. Do you think she needs any of this? No.
Anita Hill knows a thing or two about a process that she felt was not fair and rushed forward. So here she is this morning talking about it. Listen to this.
Absolutely, it's the right move. The hearing questions need to have a frame, and the investigation is the best frame for that, a neutral investigation that can pull together the facts, create a record so that the senators can draw on the information they receive to develop their questions.
So, Senator, how do you get the FBI to reopen their background check of Brett Kavanaugh?
Frankly, I don't know how we can force them to, because we were following the appropriate process, which was to ask the president to go forward. But this is the kind of investigation that the FBI is supposed to be doing. This is new information that they got. They should be able to do their jobs. And who's stopping them right now? It's the president. It's the administration. Not surprising, but shocking.
Yesterday, you said, I just want the men in this country to shut up and step up and do the right thing for a change. Can you expound on that, what you meant?
This kind of behavior, sexual harassment, sexual assault, has been going on for, as I have said in the past, time immemorial. It's not just something for the women in this country to care about. It's for all of us. That's why I've said to the men, just shut up and step up. And you know what? For the men who are offended by this, you should ask yourself, why are you offended by this? Why don't you ask yourself, what about this that offends you? We should all be holding together. We should all be treating each other like human beings. It's about time. It's not just for the women to bear this burden continuously. And guess what? The people who are usually perpetuating this kind of behavior, who are acting this way, are the men. That's why I said, you know what, face up, step up.
Senator Mazie Hirono, we appreciate you coming on New Day. Thank you.